What is going on, guys? Noah Brewer here, and I am back again with another video. In this one, I'm going to be showing you how I got my results from looking like this to this. And I'm also going to be showing you exactly how to follow this method for yourself towards the end, an exact step-by-step that you can follow to get these results for yourself. Let's get right into it. So before we get into the exact method that I was following, I want to give you a little bit of backstory on what I was doing and how it worked out for me and why I kind of looked into the Pioneer method in the first place. So I was basically using this strategy that I like to refer to as the copycat method. It's not a bad method. Obviously, I was able to generate around $1.5 million in sales in my first year doing drop shipping with this method. Basically, all it is you find products that are already doing well in the marketplace, and you basically just replicate them, put them on your own store, and try to sell them as well and get some of the piece of the pie for yourself. Like I said, this worked pretty well. There's been a lot of stores in between, 50 to 100K. So this method did work well, but I was starting to get really sick of, like I said, results like these, which is like, the 3 ROAS, the 2 to 3 ROAS, just not really getting those like peak optimal results that I really, really wanted. And I had a feeling that in order for me to get, from this $1 million point to where I am now, which is almost hitting $10 million in total sales, I had to change something, because if I were to hit over 8 figures, I would have to do a lot of stores. If I'm just sticking between 50K and 350K, it would just take a really long time to hit that goal of mine. So I started to think about ways that I could get, for one, a higher ROAS, and for 2, stores that would scale a lot higher. Obviously, this kind of got my ball rolling, and started thinking of the possibility of, what if I took products that weren't proven and tried to prove them myself? So it was around November of 2018, around, 2 years ago by now. And by this point, keep in mind, I had a ton of experience. I've already scaled around 10 winners to over 6 figures and multiple other winners to, 50K or so. So I had a good idea of like what types of products did work and what types of products didn't work. So keep this in mind, that I had a base of experience to go off of when I was actually doing this. And one idea that I had, and I knew that the gaming niche was actually popping off around this time. There were a few copycat products that would have done well with this, but there was also, like gaming headsets, keyboards, stuff like that was doing really well. But obviously, since it wasn't a proven product, I had to take the risk to test it myself. And by this point, I'm used to testing products that we already know are working, or maybe they're not working, so we kind of already know what to expect. But with this method, I'm going in completely blind. But it makes sense, right? Because if I take my experience and use my experience to put together this new product, it could do well, right? So I think it was worth the risk. Well, I know it was worth the risk now, but back then I thought it was worth the risk. So basically my idea was to take a keyboard, a headset, and a mouse, like a gaming keyboard, a mouse, and a headset, and put them all together in a bundle. Now, I knew that the headset already worked. I already scaled it a couple times with clients. So basically all I was doing was creating this bundle, which I'll show a picture of it here so that you can see what I'm talking about. And that's actually a picture that I made myself, because obviously I was taking 3 separate products and putting them into one. And I'll show you another custom image that I made, just so that when you're doing Pioneer method, you can't be scared to get creative. And this was kind of like my opportunity to be creative and create this bundle that we were actually going to test. So, of course, I took the leap. I tested the product that had 0 track record. It was completely new images. Basically, this product was the definition of the Pioneer method for me, because I was taking my own experience, my own knowledge, and putting it together and trying to find a winner on my own. And keep in mind, this was the very first product that I even tried with the Pioneer method. So it's not like I had to do multiple to get it to work. The first one, keep in mind, the first one was my first time ever seeing a 5 ROAS on a product that I tested, and it was so beautiful. I was like, it was honestly like I've been sleeping and I just woke up. It was that moment where it was almost like an epiphany. It was like a wake-up call. Like, hey, you have more power, you have more, or not even more anything. It's just like, you can do more with dropshipping than just copy people and copy and paste descriptions and stuff like that. So obviously this opened up a lot, right? It was a huge wake-up call. And yeah, I just realized that it was in my power to not only just copy people, but also create my own winners. Obviously, being the first product I tested with the Pioneer method, my first time getting over 5 ROAS. I knew shit was about to get real. And you know that I am all about my replication. But before we get into that, I want to talk about what exactly was happening here. So obviously I realized that in order to copy people, and yes, it's okay to copy people, especially if you're a beginner. I completely understand where you're coming from. And it is okay to copy people, especially in the dropshipping niche. It's kind of like the normal thing that everybody does. But at the end of the day, in order for the copycat method to work, you need somebody to copy, and somebody has to start it. And I had this thought, or like you could call it a thought or a realization or something, that maybe the people that originated the products, right? Like the people that we are copying, maybe those are the guys that end up seeing those, 5+ ROAS, and they end up scaling to millions of dollars. Remember, at this point, I've never scaled a store to $1 million. So I was still trying to think and make a concept or a plan to actually hit these numbers. So that's the way that I like to think about it, is like the copycat method is great, but you need somebody to copy, and most of the time the people that you're copying are the ones making most of the money. Just because they were the first to bring it to the market, they have the first content or the video ads. Realizing this is exactly what got me from, that $1 to $1.5 million range up to the 8-figure range where I am today. This is what differentiated me from being your average run-of-the-mill dropshipper, just copying, doing their thing, to actually creating waves and creating winning products myself. And as soon as you start to do this, and as soon as you start finding winners, a cool thing that happens is people start copying you. And it never pissed me off. It was actually one of the biggest compliments to me, because I knew that I was creating this wave in this industry. And yeah, I mean, that's really the goal at the end of the day, is just to make a ton of money and not necessarily have people copy you. But when you're doing the right thing, that's what people do. So if it wasn't for this realization, I probably would still be getting mediocre results, 2 to 3 ROAS, I'll show right here. But this is the main reason why I think the Pioneer method works so well, is because you need someone to copy. If you're comparing the Pioneer method to the copycat method would not even exist if it wasn't for the Pioneer method. So this was kind of exactly like I said, it was a wake-up call. Back to the story. Now it was time for replication. My mentor always taught me, once you find something that works, you're going to want to keep doing it and doing it and doing it over and over again. And that's exactly what I did. I rounded up some clients and some students and some of my own stores just to test out this method even more. So obviously I did the first product and that worked, but did we get lucky? It could have just been like a lucky situation, my one-hit wonder, you could say. But guess what happened when I started testing more? Winners. Yes, tons of winners. I think I found more winners in that 1 to 2 month time span than I ever had in total. Just finding my own products and trying to come up with my own winners. And one of the big concerns with the Pioneer method is, since the products aren't proven, wouldn't it be harder to find a winner? Like, wouldn't it take longer to find a winner? And the truth is, it took shorter for me to find a winner. And not only did it happen quicker, but it happened better. Like, these were not the run-of-the-mill, 2.2 ROAS, 3.1 ROAS winners. These were like 5 to 8 ROAS winners that I went on to scale to multiples of 6 figures with ease. So not only was it better, but it was also quicker, which was the complete opposite of exactly what I was thinking. So this is around the time where I launched my agency, and like I said, I was doing it with clients, and I would basically just take a % of profits, and I wanted to really scale this method as high as I could and as quickly as I could. And I thought that partnering up with other people, showing them the methods and being able to use their money was a great way to do that. I was making bank on the profit share, and the clients were also making bank on their cut of the profits, and obviously I took less than they did. But at the same time, I was also changing a ton of lives in the process. I've taken people from being homeless to making over 10 grand a month. I've taken people that have quit their jobs right before having a baby to consistently making 10 to 15K a month every single month for months for months after months. You know, like there's been so many of these different situations and results, which I'm going to try to show them on the screen here. And obviously I still am super grateful to be able to do this for people. So doing the agency not only allowed me to replicate this system and make the most money that I possibly could, obviously because I was partnering with people, they were doing most of the work. I was just bringing my knowledge and my experience to the table, and I would take that cut of profits. So I was able to help these people out, help myself out, scale the method to actually where it is today. And yeah, I'm just super grateful that I was able to do all of this. And believe it or not, I was actually able to take 3 people from 0 to over $1 million in sales. One of them actually passing over $2 million in sales, which I'll show the screenshot right here. I've done numerous case studies on these stores on my YouTube channel. You can just kind of scroll down and see. One of them I took to 20K a day in 10 days. Using this method. Another one, like I said, 2.1 million in total sales. Another one was just this run-of-the-mill guy who found a few winners and ended up doing over $1 million in sales. I think his profit was around 150,000, which is not crazy, but it's kind of like, 15% margin. It was good on $1 million, right? And of course, let's not forget the countless tens and tens and tens of other people that I've been able to take to 6 figures with this method. So now I'm about to show you exactly how to do the Pioneer method and how you can find really good products for yourself so that you can try this out. But before I get into that, I want to mention, while we're on the topic of my agency, I am running a promo right now. Basically, the agency is I give you products that are completely handpicked by me. So I go on AliExpress and choose these products out myself based on my experience. Of course, that's like basically the whole value in the program. But we also run the advertising for you, and we can basically automate the entire testing system for you. For the next 3 days only from the time this video gets uploaded, it should be November 17th that this gets uploaded. The monthly price is going to be discounted by $150 per month actually. I'm going to be giving a free pre-built store to every single person that signs up during these 3 days only. And for the first 10 clients that join, I'm going to be personally doing a call with them on the few days after they join to make sure that they fully understand what's going to happen, the systems we're going to follow, and answer any questions. So if you want in, send me a DM on Instagram. It's at Noah D. Brewer on Instagram. You can send me a DM and say, hey, I came from the video, I'm interested in the agency. Or I'll leave an application link below where you can actually click, fill out the application, and then after that you'll have the option to schedule a call with one of my team members who will gladly walk you through everything and help you understand what we do. So now that that's out of the way, let's go into exactly how you can follow the Pioneer method for yourself and the exact criteria that you need to look for when you're actually looking for products. So the first, and I believe the most important part of the Pioneer method, is having a high margin. Now, I found in my experience, having a lower cost product does not increase your chances to find a winning product. All that it does is mean that you have a smaller margin. I'm not a big fan of small margin stores. I don't know about you, but I like to have a margin between $25 and $150. Keep that in mind when you're looking for products, because you don't want to have a product that costs $3 and you try to sell it for $50. You actually want the product to have a perceived value of the price that you're selling it at, which I'll get more into later on. One of the other key criteria is the product must solve a problem or be desirable. So everybody knows what solve a problem means. Every single e-com guy in the space says that the product needs to solve a problem. But what exactly do I mean when I say the product needs to be desirable? Basically what I'm saying is it can be like a normal product, but something that I've had a lot of success with is finding like a normal product that has something unique to it. And I'll pop up an example right here. Not sure what it's gonna be. My brain gets kind of slow on the spot. So that's basically what I mean. Basically, when you look at something, you wanna think like, oh wow, that's pretty cool. Like that looks like something that I would want to purchase. And you might not have that mindset, but you wanna basically try to envision somebody having that mindset about your product when they see it, when they're scrolling through their feed. So one thing that I do wanna say is, because we're following the Pioneer method, like a big stigma that a lot of people have is, oh, the product has to be new. It has to be something that doesn't exist yet. And that is entirely untrue. The product can exist. When I say a new product, I mean that it's something that isn't super saturated in the dropshipping industry as a whole. So the best example that I can think of off the top of my head, the same example that I used in the last video I made, of course, is going to be the welder. There's a welding kit. I'll pop a picture of it right here. Basically, it's just a basic welding kit. Before I started selling this product, the cheapest welding kit that you could find online was actually like $250 to $300. And I actually found it on AliExpress for around $50 and sold it for around $100. And that product took off. So that's a great example of, and by the way, no other dropshippers were selling that product. That's a great example of a product that is already existing. It's already sold in stores. There's already a ton of people selling it, but it's totally untapped with Facebook ads in the dropshipping industry, and especially at that price. So I was basically able to come in with a great price, something that people don't see on their feeds a whole lot, and just get a bunch of attention for it. And if you want some really good examples of some really great products, I did a video where I exposed my 6 and 7 figure products. I'll put the thumbnail right here. You can just go to my channel and scroll and look for it. I titled it exposing my 6-figure winners or something like that, but that'll give you like a good example of like what to look for when you're actually scrolling through AliExpress looking for these products. One thing else that I do want to say is a product saturation test. So somebody like me, I don't really do product saturation tests. I honestly never did, but it is something that I recommend that you do if you're just getting into this and you're trying to follow the Pioneer method. Basically, I don't do it because I have a lot of experience. I already know the types of products that are popping right now in dropshipping and have popped in the past. So I just kind of go based on my own experience, which you can also do as well. But you know, there's a few things that you can do for this. I think the best way is just to do a Google search of the product and look at how many stores are selling it. Go to Facebook and search up the product. Go to YouTube, see if there's a ton of people reviewing it. These are just things that you can look at. You know, if there's a Facebook post with 500,000 likes of the product, it might be an indicator that that has already been a saturated product. I'm just saying this for people that are a little bit less experienced, who don't already know which products are saturated and which are not. You can also search through AliExpress. So this is another option. You know, just search your product up on AliExpress, filter by orders, and usually if it has over 5K orders, I'll stay clear away from that product. Not every order from AliExpress is going to be a dropshipping product order, but usually if it has that, it's going to be something that's pretty common and most likely already tapped. Most of the biggest winners that I've scaled are products where no listing on AliExpress have exceeded like 20 sales. And you know, basically the first listings will catch on and test them, and will be like pretty much the first orders for that product. So keep that in mind. There are also a lot of apps. I don't know the names of them because I personally don't use them. But just, you know, I know a lot of people love apps, so I'm just going to throw it in here for you app lovers. There are apps that will tell you, you know, how many times a specific product has been added to a Shopify store. I think Oberlo might do it, but I'm not 100% sure. Just keep that in mind that there are also apps that do this. But probably the best thing that you can do to get really familiar with what products are saturated and which ones aren't is just being more involved in the industry in total. So like, you know, just being in Facebook groups, scrolling through your Facebook feed, maybe have your account be tailored or optimized to receive a lot of dropshipping ads. Just try to be as involved in this space as you can, and you should be fine. You should have pretty good judgment. So now that I went through the criteria and the product saturation test, I'm going to run you over to a screen share where I'm actually going to walk you through exactly how I find these products. Should be quick, but I want to find a product live for you guys that I think could do well, just so that you can see how exactly I do it. Alright, so as you can see on the screen, I have AliExpress pulled up. And I'm sorry for you Facecam viewers, but I'm going to be looking at my screen right here as I do this with you. And sorry if you hear mouse clicks, but what we're going to do, the very first thing is we're going to head into one of these categories here. So you can see on the home page we have categories listed. So I actually made a video called Top 3 Niches to Test. I'll pop it up right here, which you can go and watch if you want to know the 3 best niches to test right now. But right now I'm just going to click Outdoor, Fun, and Sports. And we'll hop in here. So once you get to your category, what you're going to want to do is set your minimum price to be $25. and set your maximum price to be $150. So remember our margin thing earlier? I mentioned that you want a really good perceived value on the products that you're finding. So what I mean by this is you don't want to try to sell a $3 product for $50 to try to get a good margin. What I usually like to do is actually double the cost of the product. So I really look for products that cost $20 or more, ideally $30 or more. But I like to keep it broad when I'm doing my research, just in case I come up onto anything that could be good. So keep this in mind, that you want to have your prices between $25 and $150 to weed out the stuff that's too expensive. I don't like doing too high ticket, but also keep the things that are in between and the things that are too cheap out of here, because we don't care about those. I don't want no low ticket products, which you can do the Pioneer method for low ticket products. I have done it. I just don't prefer it. So it's up to you at the end of the day. Another thing that I like to do is click 4 stars and up. So another issue with doing new products on AliExpress is there's not a whole lot of reviews. Usually the suppliers are fairly new. So this is kind of one way to make sure that the products that you're seeing are not complete dog shit. It'll just, make sure that it'll just make sure that at least they have at least one good review, right? You have this awesome feature right here called the sort by feature. Now, I don't want you to think of this of anything other than a way to reorganize the products. So in each category, usually what I like to do is scroll through about 20 of these pages. And the reason I do 20 is because if you do any more than that in a single category, your brain's going to get flooded with products and you're not going to be thinking straight. So I usually just keep it to 15 to 20. Trust me, 20 is enough per category. You'll be ripping your eyes out by 10, I promise you. But yeah, this is what I mean. So after you go through 20 pages, if you build up your list, which I'll show you the list in a second. You build up your list. If you want to stay in the same category and you just want to see different products, this sort by feature is great because you can basically sort it by newest, and it'll show you completely different products than if you sort by best match. Now, there might be the same products sometimes, but this is just a way to reorganize it. Obviously, I don't really recommend doing it by orders, but the reason for that is pretty obvious. So usually I'll go in between best match and newest. And I think for this scenario, I'm going to do newest. I usually start with newest. And if you have this view thing right here, if you can see it on the screen share, sometimes it might be in this kind of 1-by-1 view. If it is, you're going to want to switch it to the grid view. So this way you're maximizing the amount of products that you're viewing. Honestly, it makes the product images smaller as well. So when you find a product that pops out, it'll be easier to tell if it pops out because it's surrounded by a bunch of other shit. And apologize for the bad language, but I'm in my element right now and I'm having fun. So we'll leave it at that. But now all you're going to do is just scroll through these products and just look for things that catch your eye and things that might be different. It's pretty simple. Just kind of scroll down through here. I like to do a scan, and you can see I kind of found something. I don't really know what it is right this second, so I'm just going to look at it for a second. Okay, it's a bike lock. I've seen plenty of bike locks. It's nothing special. We have this awesome recording microphone, but $100 for a microphone, it might be difficult to get a $100 margin on that, but I don't know much about microphones, so maybe. Resistance bands. Maybe this should be the product that we use as an example, because I've had a ton of success with this product in the past year, actually. I've been doing it for a long time and it still works to this day. So yeah, let's use this as an example. So you're basically just scrolling through the pages, looking for things that catch your eye. And what you're going to want to do is come to your Google Sheet. I like Google Sheets. It's just easy to use. And you put the name of the product. So we're going to put resistance bands. And I just do this for organizational purposes. And it'll also help you out a ton if you are doing the saturation test. So like the product saturation test to see if the product is saturated. You can do all of your research first and just make a big list, and then come back to the list later on when you're in a different mind state to do the saturation test. So if you're doing the saturation test between each product, you might distract yourself. I think it's best to do one thing at a time just for productivity. So we're going to copy the URL to this and put it right here. And you can see I put a little dot there so the URL doesn't look ridiculously long like that. So you just put a dot. There's another way to do it, I just don't know. So that's pretty much it, guys. I mean, I can show you the saturation test, but it was pretty self-explanatory, just searching it up on different platforms. Also, I already know that this product is pretty saturated. Everybody's been doing it. It still works, but yeah, that's the gist of this method, is just kind of scrolling through AliExpress, looking for things that catch your eye. Make sure you follow the criteria, and you should be fine, and hopefully you can build a list and test them. If not, you can join the agency and we'll actually do this whole process for you. But as for this video, that was it. I hope that this was kind of like a fun video for you to watch, as I shared a little bit of my journey, and I shared some of my client results, and I also showed you how to do the Pioneer method, which I don't talk about that much, but I am going to start talking about it more. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I put a lot of work into making this, even though it might not seem like it. I really did, so I'd really appreciate it if you left a like and subscribe. And yeah, that's it for this video. This is Noah Brewer, and I'm out. Peace.